Hey, everybody. This is Dr. Crystal Richardson. I'm so extremely happy to be with you today on Life Innovation Global TV. This is The World Speaks, and today we're going to talk about a couple things. I am a wealth, innovation, and sustainability strategist. I know that's a mouthful, but I am a wealth, innovation, and sustainability strategist. So helping you to go from creativity to cash flow in your life. What we're going to talk about today are three things that can help you get there, because it all starts with what's going on in our mind, with our attitude, and with our intentions. So if we switch those around, it's mind, intention, and attitude that we're going to talk about today, which is MIA. We'll be right back. Hey, everyone. This is Dr. Crystal Richardson. Extremely happy, as I stated, to be with you today. And what we're going to talk about is MIA and how to reset your MIA, your mindset, your intentions, and your attitude. And so earlier, I talked about the fact that I help people go from creativity to cash flow. And part of the way that I do that first starts with what's going on in our mind, what's going on in our life, how, we can only fit so much into one day. We can only fit so much into one area of thought in our mind, right? Because we have so many different things that we need to think about in any given day, in any given moment, but we only have so much mental capacity to do that. So what we're going to talk about is resetting. And today's show is entitled New Year, New You. And so what does that mean? Well, if we want to have where we have the most impact that we can in our life, the most impact that we can in the world, and the most impact that we can in our families and in our business, it starts with what goes on up here. So I do talk a lot about mindset. I do talk a lot about intention. And the last one is attitude for today. So MIA. A lot of people use MIA as missing in action. MIA, missing in action. Well, I don't want you or myself to be missing in action anymore, especially leading into this new year. There's so many different things that we have on our plate, right, that we want to do. But ladies, gentlemen, today we're going to be talking about the word that I talk about a lot, the F word, which is focus. And as I say in every show or in anything that I do, I'm maybe speaking to you, but I'm also speaking to myself. There are so many gifts and talents that I've been blessed with, that God has blessed me with. And a number of you as well, when I've had one-on-ones after various vision events and various other events that I've had where I've spoken, where people have all these things they want to do, but what do we do first? What do we do first? And what do we focus our attention on any given day? What do we focus on in the morning, the afternoon, the evening, at night? And so as we get into this show today, we're going to be talking about MIA so that you're not MIA. We're going to be talking about mindset, intention, and action for attitude, the actions towards your attitude, so that you're not MIA, which is missing in action. And we want to go into this new year where there's going to be some things that we need to be MIA. We need to be missing in action related to some certain things because of the fact that we can't be everywhere for everyone and not be here for ourselves. God has placed so many gifts and talents in us and have given each and every single one of us a purpose. And based on that purpose, there's various assignments. I talk a lot about purpose and assignments that go along with that purpose. But from time to time, we get distracted or something may derail us based on our health, things going on in our health, or maybe with our family, or with the change in the economy, change in our job, change in our investments, a lot of different things that can come up. But it is up to us to put our best foot forward and do our part to ask God, what is it that he wants for our life, and then put some plans in place and then see if he's pleased with those plans, and then move forward with that plan in place. So what we're going to talk about today, if you want to go ahead and get your notes, you should have already written down that, today's show is New Year, New You, and you can be watching this at any time during the year. It just so happens right now we're in December, and it is where we want to talk about mindset, intention, and our actions related to our attitude. So as we get into the MIA today and how we're going to reset that, we're going to start with mindset. And when I talk about wealth innovation, a lot of this has to do with one of the things I teach, and I've talked about this before. It's been featured in like Yahoo Finance, USA Today, different things that I do, and looking at element 10. Element 10. Because each person should have 10 sustainable and substantial streams of income at any one time. 10 sustainable and substantial streams of income at any one time. So sustainable means that it's going on and on, in our life, throughout the rest of our life. And then substantial means that it's big. So not just 10 things that bring in, just a few dollars here and there, but where it does really have an impact on us financially, that it helps to sustain us. So when we look at that, and when we look at mindset, intention, excuse me, and the actions related to our attitude, MIA, it comes down to a few different factors. So as we look at mindset, we're going to take just a couple notes. There's a lot of things that I could say about mindset, and maybe you even have some notes from different things that we talked about before. But as we look at this, one of the things that helps us is being able to wrap our mind around the fact that anything that happens in our mind and our intentions and our actions and our attitude, the only way that people are really going to know that is if we write it and we have literary work, or if we actually speak it. So I'm going to play the commercial related to the 51 Powerful P's of Public Speaking. And what that is talking about are all different ways that we can speak. It's not just on stage. It also has to do with if we have one-on-one conversations with people, if we are in a board meeting, if we're doing a PowerPoint presentation at our job, if we're in an elevator, we talk about the elevator pitch. What is it that you do? Can you say it in 20 to 30 seconds, as you're going up the various floors to get off on your floor, someone else is getting off on their floor, and you're able to explain in very short order what it is that you do. And there's all different areas of communication, and this is a book that can help. Hey, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, if you've been watching the show, we do have back here where I post a book that we will be using and where we'll talk about some things out of it. This is one of my books, Plan Out Loud, 11 Controversial Lessons on Strategy, Leadership, and Success. So we'll be looking at that. But I mentioned let's see if I can get it to stand back up. There we go. Don't move. I mentioned the 51 Powerful P's of public speaking. And so there's going to be some lessons that we go over related to this. But what we're going to talk about right now, because this is how you communicate what it is that you believe related to your business, that you believe related to your family, finances, spirituality, like all the different areas of life, which is why the name of my entity is Life Innovation Global. Life innovation, creative ways to do life. And so this right here can help you in a number of different areas. So we'll be getting to that. But what we want to talk about right now is MIA. So hopefully you've written down New Year, New You. And then you've also written down MIA, mindset, intention, and attitude, which are the actions related to our attitude. And we want to have some things that we write down related to each of these so that we're not MIA, so that we're not missing in action, that we show up. Write down, show up. It's very important in anything and everything that we do that we show up and show up for ourselves initially, right? And so part of mindset, one of the first things I want you to write down is in relation to self-awareness. And whenever I do vision events, it's very important that we have a vision for our life, not just a plan. We put together plans, but having a vision of what is it that we want our life to look like? What is it that we want our business to look like? What is it that we want our family situation to look like? What do we want our spiritual situation to look like? Our relationship with God. What do we want that to look like? Do we want to have a close personal relationship with God? Do we want to have a close personal relationship with our family? Do we want to have where we really understand, the numbers and the strategic plan, the marketing plan, the risk, everything, that goes into business? Is it that we want to have related to ourselves? What is it that we want for ourselves? So the first point, I'm saying a lot of things, you might have already been taking some notes, but the first thing under mindset is self-awareness. self-awareness. It's very important for us to have self-awareness because we have all different kinds of thoughts, all different kind of things that go on, thoughts and actions every single day, actions and reactions. And based on those actions and reactions, what comes out of our mouth is a response. So as we look at all of these, we want to have where we really are truly, truly, truly self-aware, where we are honest with ourselves about what's going on in our life, what's going on in our mind, what's going on in our actions, and are there any areas that we need to reset? So the new year, new you, the word that's going to keep coming up is the word reset. Because once we have a baseline, once we have an understanding, once we have where we're self-aware, we can then take the next steps to do an actual reset if we feel that that's necessary. If we feel that a reset is necessary. So I do a lot with us writing down different things for us to think about. I do a lot related to scoring ourselves in various areas. It's very important to have a dashboard of where we feel that we are. But the first thing is for us to be self-aware so that we can then do the next step, which is acknowledging the need to potentially do some shifting, acknowledging the need to potentially do some resetting, and acknowledging the need to potentially do some changes. Because if we do scoring, if we have where, oh, that particular area of our life is working out well, things are going good, and as far as, what I feel about myself, what other people say about, whatever it is that's going on, how I feel that, God is receiving what I'm doing, that area may be going pretty well if we rate ourselves 1 to 5 or 0 to 5 or 0 to 10. Because some things it is actually 0. It may not even have a 1 in that particular area. But depending on what's going on, if we're self-aware, we can then acknowledge as step 2 what needs to be reset, what needs to be shifted, and what needs to potentially change. So I'm going to write that down myself. So what needs to be shifted, what needs to be changed, and what needs to be reset. Because a shift means we either need to do more of something or less of something else. And when I teach vision, I also talk about the things that we need to start and the things that we need to stop. What is it that we need to start? What is it that we need to say, you know what, we need to stop that? And the other part that I just mentioned was less. What do we need to do less of? What do we need to do more of? So there's a lot of different things that we need to think about when we go through these exercises, and have where we can then put together a concrete plan on how we move forward. So if you are interested in being a part of what we're doing right now, the Vision Collective 2025, and you can be listening to this anytime in any year, is where we have gone through session 1. I've done several versions of session 1. And then also have where we're doing session 2 on December 7th, which is coming up this coming weekend. And on this coming weekend, from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, we're going to be digging into reviewing what the vision is for our life, our mission statement for our life, what we feel our purpose is, what it is that's going to challenge us, what's going to make it be difficult for us to do that vision. So we need to know the things that are challenging us, what's keeping us distracted, what's keeping us down from doing that. And so we're going to be going into some of those things. And then how do we build ourselves up to have a concrete plan and then have the accountability to make sure that we are moving forward in what it is that we want to do for the new year. So we're talking about mindset. We're talking about MIA, New Year, New You. And I always talk to people whenever I do a business meeting with them, is that, there's certain things that we need to look at, as far as like what's going on in our mind and in our life before we can really dig into the business part, so that we have a good foundation. And the words that I use, it really resonated with some of the ladies this past weekend. We have men and women, but this last weekend was just women, is the non-negotiable foundation. What is my non-negotiable foundation that I have in place that no matter what, I am not budging from that? So one of the examples for me that's non-negotiable is that when I wake up in the morning, no matter how many different things that I need to do, and I just want to reach for that phone or go to the computer or even get up to go to the bathroom, my non-negotiable is before I get up. Before I get up, I close my eyes back again if I open my eyes. But normally if I'm aware that it's time to wake up, because I don't really use an alarm, I keep my eyes closed, and then I put on the full armor of God. I go through each portion of the armor and thank God for it, and have where I verbalize it to myself, what that piece of armor means to me on that day, and put it on. And then I go to the next piece and the next piece and the next piece, so that I then wake up and have where I stand up, even just to go to the restroom, or even before I say good morning to my husband, that I have on my armor. Now, why is that? That is a non-negotiable foundation for me, because I know that something may come out of my mouth related to something I was thinking about during the night, or something may come out of his mouth, something that he's thinking about, like right away, we say good morning and whatnot. Something may happen if I do pick up my phone to see if there's anything that's going on, any emergencies with my children or anything else that comes up. I just kind of scroll through and check, and then I go through the rest of my morning routine. But I do that initial check just to make sure that there's nothing that's an emergency. We are also ministers, and so sometimes things come in and there may be something that we need to address right away. So, but that's a non-negotiable for me. And also having a mindset always of looking at everything with gratitude. Now, it might not be that I stay in the mode of gratitude. I might have a little attitude. We're going to talk about attitude. I may have a little attitude about whatever it is that's going on, and some self-pity, or, depending on what it is, or some anger even related to whatever it is that I'm seeing or hearing or need to address. Or even like if it's something related to my health, just upset, about different things that have happened since I had COVID. It damaged my liver, 4 years ago, and some different things are coming up now, different things that are just not right, that have been coming up ever since I had COVID. And like, why, God, why, but we have to have where we know that all things work together for good for those who love him and are called according to his purpose. And so I go through all these emotions, and then I get back to that I have on my armor, and I have faith that he's going to lead me through whatever it is, and that his purpose will be fulfilled. So as we look at mindset, we're looking at new year, new you. We're on mindset. We talked about being self-aware, and now we talked about acknowledging the things that need to shift, the things that need to be reset, the things that need to change. Now, some of it down, you then go and think about, what is it that I need to acknowledge, and make a list? What is it based on these things that I've acknowledged? What is it that I maybe need to change? And what does change even mean? Does it mean that I need to have, or there's certain people that I remove from a certain area in my life? Does it mean that I need to have better time management? Does it mean that I need to do something to stress less? I need to have more exercise? Like, what is it that I need to do? I need to have a better budget. I need to follow the budget. Like, all of these different things come up that we need to look at. And so as we're doing our planning, it helps us to be able to have some concrete things that we've written down. That's why I always talk about taking notes so that we can come up with that detailed action list. The next part is a two-part, is surrounding ourselves with positivity and evicting negativity. Surrounding ourselves with positivity and evicting negativity. There's so many different things that go on during the day that can really, really, really bring us down, including ourselves. Like a lot of this is just all us having self-sabotage, right? So there's so many different things that can come up that we want to have where we understand what is it that we can do to surround ourselves more with positivity. So I'd love to hear some of your ideas, and you can email those to legacy@lifeinnovationglobal.com. 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 So you can email those if there's some things that you can think of that would help us to move forward with positivity and surround ourselves with positivity and to evict negativity in our life. And so some of that just has to do with, ladies and gentlemen, even something as simple as limiting our social media time so that we're spending more time on the things that really matter related to our purpose and doing what we can to support our friends and to comment on different things, you know, that are going on with them so that they know that we still care. Not that commenting on social media means that we care, but sometimes people are like, are you okay? You know, if they're used to you doing that. But part of this is going to be coming up with a beginning of the year declaration and a beginning of the year plan that we can communicate to those who matter. And you can even post it on social media if you want, so that people understand new year, new you, new year, new me, and that this is how I'm going to be living my life in this coming year. And so if you see some changes, if you hear some things that are different, this is why. And so as we make that declaration, and it may be that you have more than one declaration, this will help you to have where you have that scroll, that document that you can post on your wall of these are my non-negotiable foundations. So I want you to think about that for a moment. Surrounding yourself with positivity, evicting negativity. What does that mean to you? Remember, we're still on mindset, on the MIA. Mindset, intention, our attitude, and our actions toward our attitude. So as we conclude on just a couple of different things related to mindset, I want us to think about how is it that we can think about our mindset and then communicate to people what it is that we're thinking and how it is that we want to move forward for this new year or this new season in our life. Because remember, like I've talked about on other shows, this is talking about the beginning of the year. But it could be that it's April or May or June, and you now want to embark upon a new season in your life. So don't worry about when it is that you're seeing this. Starting out new, and I do actually have a book that's called Into the New. Starting out new can happen at any point in time in your life. My question for you is, do you care enough about yourself? Do I care enough about myself to take the actions that I need to take, for you to take the actions that you need to take, to step out and do something new that's going to result in something more positive in this season in our life? So the last thing that I want to go over for mindset is you've heard developing a growth mindset. A growth mindset. So as we surround ourselves with positivity, reduce the negativity, we also need to have our mind always in growth mindset. And that means a lot of different things to a lot of people. And what it means to me is that we're always open to something that's going to help grow us in those areas that we have outlined in our personal plan. If a particular thing comes to us and it aligns itself with something that we've already written down, then it's okay to grow in that. If it's something that's going to enhance something that we already have written down that we want to do in our life during that particular time, then it's okay to have a growth mindset in that area. If on your list, like on my list, has to do with impact and impacting people's lives, and people are coming and asking me to help them in various areas, or, as a minister, people need prayer, need counseling. It's not necessarily where it's to the point where I'm enabling them to stay where they are, but helping them to grow, and they're listening and they're taking actions, then I'm going to continue to help them because they're listening, they're growing, they're taking the actions. They're not coming and coming and complaining and asking for prayer, complaining and asking for prayer, and not doing any actions themselves. So for me, having a growth mindset is, what have I asked God for? And what has He given to me and required of me based on the gifts and talents that He's placed in me? What is that? What does that look like? What has He given to me and made plain to me that my purpose is in life? Based on that purpose, I then wrap my mindset around it, have where I surround myself with positivity related to that purpose. I decrease the negativity related to that, people who may not understand my purpose, who may have something negative to say. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Well, this is what God has given me. And then also having where I have a growth mindset related to, okay, this is what He's given me. How can I grow? What can I learn? What can I do to continue to enhance what He's given me? And it goes all the way back to what we talked about at the beginning, which is being self-aware and acknowledging things that we need to shift, reset, or change. All of this, ladies and gentlemen, it's all working together for us to have where we have the best year yet. We're going to take a short break, and then we will be coming back to discuss the second part of MIA, mindset, intention. Talk about intention a lot. And then our attitude, the actions related to our attitude, because we don't want to be the other MIA. Mindset, intention, and attitude, MIA. We don't want to be missing in action in our life, in our own life. We need to show up where it's important for us to show up. Well, welcome everyone. This is Life Innovation Global TV, The World Speaks. We're going to have some amazing speakers and shows and guests here. If you want to have your commercial on here, that would be great as well. And we would love to have you as a guest here at the Uplift Center Studios here in Arizona. If you're local, if you want to fly in, that would be great as well. What we're talking about today are three different things. MIA. MIA. Yes, it has to do with showing up so that we're not missing in action related to what we're supposed to be doing in our life. You know, what do we feel our purpose is and all of that. So what we're talking about today is mindset, intention, and the actions related to our attitude. So we already went over mindset and hopefully you got some really great notes on that. And what we're going to talk about now is intention. And so the word intention is so huge for me. You know, as we go into any event, any talk that I give, I ask people to write down their intentions. And I actually have some little cards here from the last event that I did that I had people write down their intentions. What is it that they wanted to get out of the vision event? And to let me know whether they actually accomplished what it was that they intended to accomplish, or were they able to receive what they intended to receive? And if not, then, you know, we do what we can do to fill that gap. So in your own life, how is it that you can go forward with better intentions? Well, part of it is writing down what it is that you want to do, or what it is that you want something to look like. So that first step is writing down. Just the words writing down your intentions. And the second one, which is coupled with that, has to do with being able to visualize what you want the outcome to look like. Visualize the outcome. Now, this is something that I talk about a lot, being able to have that view, that vision, and visualizing, for me, as a creative, may be a little bit different, but it's something that I'm saying that everyone in my mind should be a creative, is visualizing the outcome. So I choreograph dances, I have where I write music, I sew, I write books, I do plays, like I do like a lot of different things that are creative. So in order to have where I know what I want that dress to look like, I first have to visualize it and then kind of sketch it out. Sometimes I actually sketch it on paper. Sometimes I just have where I visualize it in my mind. The different parts, the intricacies of it. Or even like these earrings are some earrings that I made. I don't know if you can see them. But being able to visualize. So for some things, it's not where it has where you have a view. It's as you go, it kind of creates itself. So there was a guy at the store. I was at Trader Joe's and he was like, wow, the intricacies of those are just amazing. And he's asking me about them. I was like, oh yeah, I made them. He's like, you made those? You do metal work? I was like, well, this is a really soft metal, a light soft metal. And yes, I do. And sometimes I do have, you know, exactly how I'm thinking I want it to look. And then other times as I start bending, it'll come out a slightly different way. And I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of cool. So I'll just take that. But in our life, it's the same concept. Having an intention of what you want to get out of an event that you go to, and then having where you go and either it meets your expectations, it's below your expectations, or it exceeds your expectations. Like, wow, I got way more than I thought I was going to get out of that event. So we need to just think about that in our life. How can we visualize how we want something to look? And then with intention, what value or priority are we setting related to what we're looking at? So we're talking about intention, mindset, intention, and our attitude. So as we move forward, with different things that we want to do in our life, that we want to do in 2025. Let me break it down this way. Based on what we want to do in our business, let's say that we want to have more clients, or we want to reach a certain financial goal. What priority or value are we putting on that? Like the different steps that it's going to take to get there. What priority are we going to put on those steps? What value are we putting on those steps? Because there's only so much time during the day, right? So if we set an intention that this is what we want to do, then we have to prioritize it. We have to prioritize it. And I am going to get to a few comments in this book, but what I'm saying is if it has enough value in our life, then there's only so much time during the day. So what do? We say, okay, I'm at least going to spend an hour working on my business, various aspects of my business per day. I have a 9-to-5 job. I have 5 kids. We have to get them back and forth to their practices or do their homework, make sure that they have baths and things like that. This is not me. I'm just giving you an example. I don't have 5 kids. I have 2 beautiful young women. That we set some kind of priorities. Okay, so let's say we can't set an hour. Let's say we're going to do 15 minutes. Now, if you have everything outlined, and like I have a table right here that has various books, and I have my papers, I have my calendar, I have different things that I'm doing. If you have everything outlined where you can go into your office, and sometimes I even say go into the bathroom if that's the only place you can go, and close the door for a little bit and work on whatever it is, that's your only private time, then that's your private time. But have where you spend quality time for that thing that you've prioritized. That you know what, I am not going to let this 15 minutes go away today without me getting this accomplished. So, intention. There's people right now that are doing a gratitude challenge, and they're supposed to send one gratitude to me via text or email every day for 30 days. And I was like, oh, some people were doing so well. And then some people are like, oh, I want to get caught up. Well, that's not how the competition works, but it is still good for them to continue to send so that they can make it through the 30 days. But that's not how the competition works. It has to be that it's one gratitude, or how many of gratitudes you want to send per day. But their intention was to do it, but then, you know, the day gets away from you because you have the 5 kids, because you have where they need to do their homework. They have to be taken to this place, that place. And then they have, you know, like you set an alarm and then the alarm goes off, but there's already something else going on and then you miss it. Like I get it. That happens to me all the time on various things. But I had good intention, but I wasn't able to fulfill it. So another thing to write down related to intentions is to start small. Don't overwhelm yourself with having these big, huge goals. Like I do want to know, like, what is the big, huge thing that you want to do in the new year? And then how can we break that down into smaller steps so that we can start small, working toward that bigger goal? Or depending on your time, your talent, and your support team, you have like 15 people that are gung-ho to help you. Maybe you can start bigger. So all of that just kind of depends on what resources that you have. So another thing related to intention is we talked about starting small. We also talked about having where you understand the priority and the value that you're able to place on that. Like how much time are you able to spend related to that? We've also talked about visualizing. And then the other thing that we've already talked about related to mindset and in intention is alignment. Based on what you've set your mind to, based on the goals and intentions that you've written down that we're working toward. Anything that comes into your life, as we talked about, does it align with what it is that you've already outlined that you want to do? So as we think about that, it's very important for us to understand what we're working toward by having that declaration of, this is what I'm working toward, this is how I'm going to do it, and this declaration is for me, but for certain people, I'm going to share this declaration with them so that they know, new year, new me, new season, new me, that this is how I'm going to be operating. And just so you know that this is how I'm going to be operating. So I'm not going to have where, every single time you call potentially that I'll be available. I may or may not, depending on if it's between this time and this time, because that's the time that I have outlined to work on my business. So for instance, if it's between 4 and 5, I'm going to set the intention, and I am going to have where that's the time that I'm going to be working on certain things each and every day. So it's up to you to set those kinds of rules for yourself, and then see how you can go about making that happen, and then putting together for you like a support team that understands that this is what we're moving toward. There's one young lady I know, her and her daughters, they are doing such a great job in their business, because they are all very, very, very laser focused that this is what we're doing. Okay. So I just want you to understand that a lot of this does have to do with being clear to yourself and being clear enough that you're able to write it down, being clear enough that you're able to communicate to people that this is what I've decided. So part of intention, if you want to write down another one, is deciding and then taking actions related to what it is that you've decided. So what I want to play for you right now is just going back to how we're able to communicate. And so 51 powerful P's of public speaking starts with, what it is that you have in your mind, your mindset, your intentions, and the actions related to your attitude. And so attitude is so important when you're speaking. Your energy, your expressions, how you express what it is that you want to convey. And there's various P's, because it says 51 powerful P's, that can get you there. Like how you use pizzazz, how you present, how you pull information maybe from the people that you're speaking to, and then how you push information as well. There's a lot of different areas in there. Really fun book, and it's an action book, so you can actually use it as a guidebook and as a workbook to write down some things that you want to practice yourself, and then you can give the little table that's in there on how you can score yourself. You can give that to others and do a pre-review with them. So you present it to a small group and have them score you on the couple of different things that you may be practicing out of the book, to see, how did it go? Where did you actually convey it the way it said that you could in the book? And they can let you know, and you can make some changes, and then you can present it again, and maybe even do that a couple, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times. And then you have where you go on to your main presentation. And this doesn't mean that you want to be on a big stage, but it could just mean something that you're doing for a school project or on your job. And here's that commercial again, related to the 51 powerful P's of public speaking. And we will come back with our last segment related to our attitude, actions in our attitude. And then we'll take a quick look at Flint Out Loud. Hey, everybody. We're down to our last little segment here. We have like 4 minutes before we have to end today. But I want to talk about the last part of MIA so that we're not MIA. So we don't want to be missing in action. We want to show up for the new year, new you, the new me based on this new year. So we talked about mindset and we talked about intention. Now we're going to quickly talk about actions related to our attitude. And we've already covered some areas that can help us with our attitude, right? Which is decreasing negativity and increasing and surrounding ourselves with positivity. Another thing is positive self-talk. We have a lot of words that go on in our head each and every day, way more than we actually speak with our mouth because we're always thinking about something. Well, I say that we're always thinking about something because I know that I'm a thinker. So having where we have positive self-talk is very extremely important. And another thing that's important that I love to do, and I even have a song about it, Celebrate God is my song, but celebrate the small wins, celebrate the big ones too, but celebrate small baby steps. Remember, I said on some things, if you have a big team, if you have like a lot of resources, you can start big on some things, but on other things, we may need to start small. So each and every small step that's made, celebrate it, celebrate it, celebrate it. That will give us a better attitude. And so as we're looking at our intentions, as we're looking at our vision and our plan for this following year, have where we put celebration in there somewhere. And also helping others. Helping others is huge. And one thing I want to say about this is a book, Flint Out Loud, and we'll get into this some more at a different show since we only have like 1 minute left. 11 controversial lessons on strategy, leadership, and success. And so this is a book I wrote. It's called Flint Out Loud because these lessons came from my parents. And so part of mindset, intention, and attitude is having where you have people in your life that you can really look at how they affected your life and give some testimonials and some gratitude related to that. And then what lessons did you get from what it was that they showed you based on their life? So we'll be going into this some more, and I'll use this book at a different time to really go into some of what's in here. But it really has to do with my parents and my teachers and pastors and different people that had a positive impact on me when I was growing up in Flint, Michigan, which is why it's called Flint Out Loud. I hope you all have a blessed day. I hope you got something out of the MIA conversation that we had today. And we will see you next week on The World Speaks. God bless.